Hello everybody, my name's Lightning Ascertain from Markiplier, and I'm really pissed because even though I clicked on the recording button multiple times, it didn't register until I double clicked. Which, until now in OBS you only had to click once, but now you have to click twice. Great. I told the entire story for I don't know how long. Anyway, and also this is episode 4 because episode 3's footage corrupted. Not corrupted. I accidentally deleted it. Anyway, it's gone. Man, I am so pissed right now. You won't... I'm so damn pissed. Anyway, I have some things to say. First of all, I haven't posted in a while. That is because I am recording Subnautica. And I am already like almost 15 hours into the game. Not quite, but almost. 15 hours into the game. Anyway, I wanted to post this video soon because I had something to tell you about. I almost died. I almost drowned. And now let me just retell the entire story once a fucking again. So I recently turned 14 years old back in April, so not actually that recently. And for that, as a birthday present, I got stand-up paddling boards. 2, one for me, one for my father, so that we could both swim. Or whatever we call it, drive. I don't care. What do you want to call it? On there. So, sorry. I'm going to once again tell you this entire story in great detail. Important notes as well. I currently have a French exchange student here called Timberborn. And now we were 3 people who wanted to do this tour, but only had 2 stand-up paddling boards. So we had the idea of take a dog leash, like one of those really strong dog leashes, quite short, which have hooks on both sides so that you can put one onto your dog's collar and one onto like metal circles that are in different places in the leash so that you can make it longer or shorter, plus have a bigger or smaller thing where you can hold it. And we connected one of the subs, the stand-up paddling boards. I call them subs because that's what you call them in Germany for sure. I don't know what you call them in America or England for that matter. Anyway, yeah. And we took a like plastic ring which you can blow air into so that you can swim on top of the water. I don't know what it's called. And so that I could be standing on one stand-up paddling board, Titouan could stand on the other sub, and I could pull my dad, who was sitting in the ring. And then... we wanted to do it on the Danube, I think it's called in English. In German, it's called Donau. But we're at the beginning, so it's not quite that big yet. But still, it carries a lot of water already, and it's like... Oh, drought. At least a solid, like... I really need some summer jobs for these guys. Let's build a bunch of signs. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know what to do. Anyway. On the Danube. And we wanted to go from Rechtenstein to Mundiking, where we live. But in order to protect the environment, it's illegal. You've got to be fucking kidding me. So instead we had to start at Rotnaka, at the official entry point, where we even asked and everyone said, yeah, it's super safe, it's super chill, everything's fine. And then... we got in there. So we drove there. And also, more context, the two people on the sub, so me and my French exchange student, we were tied via leashes, which were on one side on the subs and on the other around our foot, to the boards, the subs, so that they couldn't swim away and we'd lose them. So we swam down, and like 30 meters in, so like still in the damn city we were in. And don't think you can really call it a city, it's more like a village, but who cares? Yeah. Okay, so we went down and like 30 meters in, there was like a bunch of like seaweed or something like that. I can't really call it, like sea grass more like, which grows in rivers. And it was so much that water literally couldn't push through it, so it was on like one really small thing at the side of the river. Which of course meant that it got really fast there. And also we couldn't go through there either, so we had to go through the fast part. And then we only realized once it was too late that in there, at the border of the river, there was a tree growing, and it grew like right above the water. And it grew perfectly, so it was basically impossible to go through. Me and my dad, we jumped off. My French exchange student didn't manage to. I held on to the sup, and there was a branch going into the water which caught the leash, catching the sup I was on and the ring my dad was on. My French exchange student didn't manage to get off in time, so sup crashed again, and he was also farther in than me. So he crashed against the tree, his sup flipped onto its side, he flew against a branch, which was vertical, or no, vertical, I don't think it's vertical, I don't care, it was like, what do you call it, it was parallel to the water, and he got then pressed against it by the current. My dad went up the current, took the leash off of his foot, pushed the sup away, and got him out. Then they started swimming to the side. And he told me, my father told me to also start going to the side of the start swimming and going to the side of the thing. I, in my panic, forgot to take off the leash. And so I swam, and then the leash had run out of length, and I couldn't go any further. And the current pushed me underwater. And I fought and fought, but I couldn't keep my head above the water. I constantly was just getting pushed down more and more. And now, to give you some chills down your spine, I still remember how it felt when the current pushed the water up my nose and into my lungs, filling them with water. Imagine that. Imagine that. Okay? Imagine it. Imagine feeling how the water quickly went to your lungs and just filled them up. I went unconscious. I passed out. And my dad fought a lot, but he in the end managed to, when I was already passed out, pull me out of the water, pull me up, and he pressed air into my lungs until I went conscious again. Anyway, yeah, then he went into the, he pulled me into the, field of seagrass or whatever it was, because again, remember, no current went through there. It was all stationary because the water couldn't penetrate the outside. He gave me a stick that was laying around there so I could brace myself. Then went to the other side and asked for help, while on one side there was Titouan asking for help, on the other side there was my dad. Quickly we managed to call the I don't know what they're called. The firefighters is the best I can come up with. And also, what are they called? My English skills went horrible out of nowhere. I know the word. It's Krankenwagen in Deutsch. It's... Fuck. Hold on, I gotta actually fucking Google that. An ambulance! That's it. I know the word usually, but I just couldn't remember right now. An ambulance. The firefighters had like a bunch of people in seats to keep them warm in the water, and they went into the water with a rope, and then they pulled us out. I got put into an ambulance, rushed to the hospital, and had to spend the night there. But I'm fine now. Also, I have one 2, 3, 4, 5 holes in me now from needles. One on my hand into a vein so that they could put the crap ton of medicine they put in my they put me in through there straight into my veins. Then 2 on my left arm because they tried to hit a vein there so they could take blood. But the first time they didn't hit it. So then they had to take it out and put it back in so they could actually hit the vein. And they couldn't use the same thing for 2 reasons. First of all, they needed to be at different spaces, but also I was constantly getting some sort of medicine into me, so it was literally impossible to use the same thing for 2 things, because one was taking up the whole time, and then like 10% of the time they were pulling blood out of me so they could analyze it. And I had a bunch of other stuff on me as well, of course, so they could know how I was. And then I had to also, after I was fine, the next day after I got released, go to the hospital again so they could take some more blood and analyze it. And there they took it out of my right arm, but the first time they didn't hit it, so they pierced my skin, didn't hit it, took it almost all the way out, and like 10 times stung in my flesh, but didn't hit it, so they took it out and pierced again in a different space in my skin, and then finally hit my vein. So they could take blood. Also, the doctor said there's a chance, it's not that high, but it is realistic, that I could get, I think it's called pneumonia in English. It's Lungenentzündung in German. It's like an infection of the lungs. I don't really know. Anyway, but outside of that, I'm fine. And, yeah. So that's the story of that. Also, I am traumatized and keep getting flashbacks. Also, my dad also was slightly traumatized and had some flashbacks of seeing me completely lifeless in his arms, which of course, it's horrible. You never want to see your kid lifeless in your arms, but I'm alive, so thanks to him, so it's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy story. Oh, another crazy story. I invented a FNAF theory which solves sister location. Kind of. I mean, that's a little clickbaity, but it does solve the sister location endo. And in the most OG game theory way, which is using common sense, engineering, and science. So a bunch of stuff, which of course is really important to theorizing. Now all I need to do is find someone who's better at editing than me to help me actually make this FNAF theory. I think my best chance is terminal error. I mean, if I hop on one of his streams and tell him, hey, I invented a FNAF theory, but I'm horrible at editing, so if you want, we could do a collab in which, like, we both do some talking about it and you do the editing. That'd be cool. He might, being the key word here, actually give in. The chances are still slim, but it's not impossible. Where do I want to put this? I'm just gonna put it here. Oh yeah, right, we're currently producing basically no wood. Might need to figure out a way to solve that. How about I unpause or yeah, I can solve that next episode. This episode's already starting to go to the yeah. You know, thinking about it, maybe the chip die would also be fine. I mean, it is based on one of his theories about them. I mean, he basically solved the what. I'm just the one who solved the why, which is the actual lore part. Yeah. Also, it's a crazy story how I actually came up with the theory. Because get this. I watched a video from Rye Toast. And in the video, he talked about how the sister location endoskeletons are really crazy and futuristic. And then I commented, hey, no, actually, that's not the case. They're a lot more realistic than the Endo 1s and Endo 2s. And then someone argued with me in the comment section about how no, that isn't actually the case. And kept making up facts about the lore that were just factually wrong. Well, not... You can prove that they're wrong, but he was like, well, Scott Cawthon said, or you can clearly see, which was just false. He said, you can clearly see how the tubes of the sister location endoskeletons lead from the inside to the outside, and then never lead back to the inside, but just end there. Just that is not the case. If you look at the models for the endoskeletons, unless they get cut by the scooper, just like they do with Ennard. And the regular animatronic, as we all know, Ennard is weird because it's a ghost. An amalgamation of ghosts, actually. They all lead back into the animatronic. So they don't actually lead back into the animatronic, so we know where they end, so your arguments are impossible, was just false. And since I told him that, he was actually real quiet. He didn't say anything anymore. Anyway. People on the internet, man. They're just idiots. Well, I think that's the end of the episode. So, yeah. This is actually the first time you're gonna see the intro I invented in Subnautica. Actually, no. I'll use it for everything but Timberborn, because in Timberborn I used the stolen intro from... Let's see. Well, at least I can still tell you what it is. Or, you know what? I'm gonna do the intro from RCE. And then I'll do mine. I just combine them. So, peace, love, and beavers. See ya!